4 years ago, I started my first successful Amazon KDP business that I was able to grow to $250,000 in book royalties. Now, most people know that Amazon KDP is amazing for giving you time, freedom, and the money that you want. But one thing that people don't know is how much time and effort it actually takes to create an Amazon KDP business like this that can allow you to live the life that you want. And is it even possible to do if you're busy working a full-time 9-to-5 job? Well, the answer is not what most people would think. So in this video, I'll reveal all the steps and strategies that I use to build my Amazon KDP business while also working a full-time job. I'll reveal how I was able to balance all the research, marketing, and content creation with the limited time that I had. And finally, what you can expect if you're aiming to do the same, especially considering Amazon KDP is very different to what it was 3 to 4 years ago. So despite having all the success I have with Amazon KDP today, my journey was anything but straightforward. Before I'd even started Amazon KDP, I tried so many different business models, whether that's drop shipping, print on demand, faceless YouTube channels. Trust me, I tried it all and I failed miserably at them. And even when I started doing Amazon KDP, I struggled for years to actually get the results I wanted. In fact, when I first started Amazon KDP in late 2019, I was balancing it alongside being a university student before I went into full-time employment. And by the time I was working full-time, every single hour I had outside of my job, I was spending grinding and building my Amazon KDP business, which I thought at the time was definitely the best approach to take. However, I was very wrong. You see, within a few months, I was completely burnt out and couldn't even face the thought of Amazon KDP and actually approached the lowest point I have so far in my life because of it. I was hugely burnt out. I'd isolated myself from all the things that I loved and all the people around me just because I was so focused on building this business, which I think is something that's massively pushed today, especially on social media, when actually it's really not the best way to build an online business in 2024. Now, you're probably thinking, if you were in that position, how on earth have you got to where you are today? But about 2 years into my journey, the penny dropped and I realized something that I had been missing the entire time. I was spending far too much of my time on Amazon KDP and nowhere near enough of my money. You see, I was working a full-time job, so I had disposable income that I was able to reinvest back into my Amazon KDP business. Although it wasn't a lot, it massively made a difference for me. I was able to outsource a lot of the work that I found absolutely exhausting to other freelancers who could not only do it for cheaper than I valued my time at, but they could do it faster and to a much better quality than I could do it. And before I knew it, even though I was putting in so many less hours to my Amazon KDP business, because my money was working for me, my business just grew and grew and grew to the point where it made absolutely no sense to stay in my full-time job anymore. And the big moment that marked this was in 1 month in December 2021. I made 5 times more than my monthly wage that I got at my full-time job from just one book on Amazon KDP. And at that point, I realized I need to be doing this full time. But the point is, I wouldn't be sat here where I am today. I would still be in my old job if I hadn't had that realization that it's not about how many hours you put into a business like this, it's about how smartly you operate the business. Now, just to be clear as well, I wasn't a writer, I wasn't a designer, I just wanted to make passive income online like everybody else. But back when I started 4 years ago, there was hardly any information on Amazon KDP compared to what there is today. So what this meant is I basically had to go through years of trial and error myself. And if I knew even half the things that I know today, I'd be able to get my business to where it is now in probably about a year. Now, even though from that story that I've just told you, it took me about 4 years to get it to where I actually want it to, I learned so many important life lessons along the way. And more specifically, I did pretty much all the things that you shouldn't do when it comes to building a KDP business. But with that said, I also learned the things that you should be doing. So with that said, what are the most important lessons that I learned that are crucial to success on Amazon KDP? Now, if you've ever watched business or motivational videos online, you've probably seen a lot of gurus say stuff like, if you didn't succeed, you didn't work hard enough, or you just need to put in more reps to be successful, or there's someone else that's going to be working much harder than you are. But having put in more reps myself over 2 to 3 years and seeing no results, I knew my lack of success couldn't just be down to my work ethic, because I never really had a problem with that. Because if I was putting in all of this work and still not getting any results, I was clearly doing something very wrong. So here are the biggest changes that I made to finally make a breakthrough with my Amazon KDP business. Now, firstly, I decided to make medium content books, not low content books. You see, a lot of the advice that you see online is from all of these gurus that maybe made a bit of money on Amazon KDP 2 to 3 years ago from very low quality, low content books. And I get it. Back in the day, you used to be able to do this because there was just so much less competition on the market. And naturally, when you're following the advice of someone that's done it, you expect to get the same results as them. But actually, because there is so much more competition now, you simply aren't able to do that with low content publishing alone, which is why I massively recommend medium content publishing. That's because medium content publishing combines the benefits of both low content and high content publishing to ensure you're creating high quality books that are hard for competitors to copy, but also very simple and easy to make and won't break the bank to produce. And that is why all of my coaching and courses focus around medium content publishing, because I firmly believe, and speaking from experience, that it is the future of publishing on Amazon KDP, especially if you want to build it into a business that's not going to drain your resources and drain your time. Now, the second point, which is something I have briefly mentioned already in this video, but I learned to leverage, and more specifically, work with freelancers and paid pieces of software. You see, the minute I started investing my money into the business rather than just my time, my Amazon KDP results began to skyrocket. And I know that contradicts everything that you see online or you're taught at school or in the workplace, that the harder you work, the better results that you'll get. In the real world, it's just not true. Now, I am a massive advocate for hard work, and if you are to build a successful Amazon KDP business, you do need to be working hard at it, but you need to be working hard in the right areas and leveraging your money in the areas where there are low value tasks to be done. So I would class in KDP things like niche research and keyword research as really high value tasks. So I would suggest you focus your time on this and lean into paid pieces of software like Helium 10 that can massively help you conduct all of this research. Then when it comes to low value tasks like formatting or finding some basic information online about your book, you can outsource all of that work to freelancers who, like I say, can do it for cheaper than you value your time, to a much higher quality than you could do, and also in much less time than you could do. So it's a win-win all round. Not only are you producing books faster, you're putting less actual effort and hours in yourself, and you're also having a higher quality book because the freelancers are better at their specific job than you are. And the final way to leverage and invest money back into your account is to spend money on Amazon ads. Now, I won't go into a huge amount of detail into how specifically you can do this because I have loads of ad videos on my channel, so I'll leave a link to those in the description down below. But in short, a proper Amazon ad strategy is so important when it comes to making book sales on KDP, and it's just another way of how you can use your money, not your time, to build a successful business. Now, the third and final big change that I made was I was much more effective with my time management and my organization. Now, this is a really important thing if you're working a 9 to 5 and trying to build your KDP business. So the first piece of advice is to ensure the time that you do spend on your Amazon KDP business is fully optimized. And by that I mean you ensure you're only focusing on the high value tasks that require specialist knowledge. Keyword research and niche research would both fit into this category, and then make sure anything that's really low value, such as some book content research or anything else that really doesn't require a huge amount of skill, ensure all of that is outsourced. Now, if you're busy working 9 to 5, I also massively recommend specifically blocking out time to focus on your KDP business. Now, this might seem really straightforward and really obvious, but you'd be surprised at the difference that it makes. If you're just going along in your 9 to 5 and you don't actually block out any specific time, a lot of the time when you'll never actually get around to doing the work that you need to do, whereas if it's physically blocked in your calendar, you know exactly what you need to do in that time, and every single minute that you spend working on that is optimized and you know exactly what you're doing. Again, this might sound really obvious, but trust me, it makes a huge difference. So these are the exact strategies that I use to finally see really good results with my Amazon KDP business. But you're probably wondering, how long did it actually take for me to consistently hit high 4 figures and even 5 figures every single month? So one thing that's important to know with Amazon KDP is that while it's an amazing source of passive income, it is something that takes time to really ramp up. And this is because just like any other business that has very high levels of passive income, it takes time for these assets to build momentum in algorithms, so in the Amazon algorithm, for you to get reviews on your books, for Amazon to start pushing it to the right customers. All of this just takes a lot of time. So if you're expecting to see results overnight, you're going to be disappointed. It has to be something that you slowly build brick by brick. But once you get to a certain point, all of the work that you've previously done just starts compounding and snowballing, and you'll start making so much money without really having to do anything else. So again, in my case, it still took about a year since I've discovered the things that I've mentioned in this video to consistently build to that high 4 and 5 figures every single month. However, if I knew exactly what I knew today, I would have done it in half the time. Nowadays, pretty much every single book that I create is a good selling book, whereas back in the day, a lot of the books I made didn't sell a single copy just while I was learning how the process actually works. And a good example of this is recently I took a brand new KDP account from $0 to $20,000 in royalties in just 7 months. So now you know my biggest lessons that helped me get to where I am today with my KDP business, but how can you actually apply this to your own life if you're still busy with a full-time job or in school or university like I was? So unlike being a full-time entrepreneur, one of the most difficult parts of running a side hustle while working 9 to 5 is managing your time, your energy, and your priorities. Since you only have a couple of hours a day at most, you have to make sure that you're spending your time on the things that actually make your business move forward and move the needle in the right direction. So if I was starting over again today and I was still working 7 to 8 hours a day while trying to run my Amazon KDP business, here is exactly how I would do it. Firstly, I would focus on optimizing my schedule and lifestyle to give myself the time and energy that I need to make this business a success. So for every hour that I'm working on my KDP business outside of my 9 to 5, I know exactly what I'm doing in that time, rather than just jumping into a bit of a work session and not really knowing what I'm doing there. Everything would be structured and everything would be optimized, focusing on high value tasks and outsourcing all of the low value tasks. And that ties me nicely into the second thing that I would do, which is using the income I have from my 9 to 5 to outsource all of these low value tasks to people who can do it quicker, they can do it better, and they can take so much time off my hands. Investing can also mean using Amazon ads. It can also mean using KDP software. Anything that just makes your life so much easier, in my opinion, is so worth investing your income into. Because again, it means you can spend your time focusing on the business on things that you need to be focusing on. Now, thirdly, again, to ensure your time is spent as optimally as possible, I would make sure every single decision I make in my KDP business is data driven. So again, utilizing KDP software, utilizing Amazon search bar, their search results, all the sort of data you can get from Amazon itself, leverage all of this information and use these data to make your decisions. I've said it so many times and I'll say it again. There's no point creating a book that nobody wants or nobody's going to buy from you. You have to be creating books that people actually want to buy, and that all comes from analyzing real world data. And finally, and possibly the most important thing, is to create a strategy that works around your life. Exactly what worked for me isn't necessarily going to work for you, because maybe you have more income than I do, maybe you have less income than I do, you maybe have more time outside of your job than I did. Everyone has such different things going on in their lives and resources available. So take a step back, look at how your life currently looks with all the things you have to commit to, and work around creating a bespoke strategy for yourself based off all of these variables. Again, what worked for me doesn't necessarily mean it will be as optimal for you, but hopefully you get an idea from my own experience of exactly how I did it, so you can take bits that you want to and implement it into your own strategy. So this is exactly how I was able to hit £10,000 a month with my Amazon KDP business and quit my 9 to 5 for good. And this is exactly how I would approach it if I had to do it all over again today. Now, if you're looking to build your own profitable Amazon KDP business and you want to have your own personalized strategy created specifically for you that can work for your situation, then I have a free training video in the description down below this video that will show you exactly how to do that. Otherwise, I hope you got the value out of this video and you enjoyed watching. And if you want my full step-by-step guide for beginners on how to get started with Amazon KDP, you can check this video out here where I cover absolutely everything you need to get started with this business. But thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.